The short answer is nobody knows for sure, not even the experts. But they're telling us that this depends on two highly unpredictable elements. It's critical and deadly in some cases. 50 people have lost their lives. This was somebody's home, and look, nothing here is as it once was. No sympathy for the victims who lost their lives and the families that they left behind. The fear is still palpable, so security is still a #1 priority. Second, take advantage of the privacy settings most social networking sites offer. I have to say, the kid in me was extremely excited, and so was the professional. I never thought that I would be on the ground, on the phone, talking to people out in outer space. Good evening to you, Neil and Anya. What's going on is one of the swankiest Veterans Day celebrations. It was difficult to see even 50 meters in front of you. It really was like living in a snow globe. Nikolai Kononov has spent years working to build and to furnish his family's new home, but the wildfires moving with intimidating speeds mercilessly gutted it. He says it happened so fast that there wasn't enough time to try and save it or anything inside.
I spent the night here on a hill. I couldn't bring myself to go far. Everything's burnt down. I lost everything, even my cow, the chickens and pigs, and a dog. There's nothing left, not even a photo.
Bunyovka is one of dozens of villages to burn in southern Russia as fierce heat and drought stoked fires and strong winds fanned flames from one home to another. Days later, you can still see the smoke in the air and smell the stench of the animals that were killed in the fires. Now, witnesses tell us that the flames came so ferociously and so fast that it only took 10 minutes to cause all this damage. 72 houses are now just mounds of smoldering rubble. For this woman, a miracle. Just 20 meters from the damage, her home is spared.
Everyone ran out of their houses as they were. The children were bundled into a little car and taken away. Then we loaded up our car and went to the hills. And from there, we watched as everything was burning.
Some of the homeless, like Elena Tulipnikova and her family, have found temporary shelter in this summer school for kids. They are safe, but their sense of security is gone. Elena tells us fires not only destroyed their home, but also killed 2 pets. Her daughter hasn't spoken since.
She cannot go to school. We have no clothes, no books, no money to buy anything.
Extreme temperatures and strong winds are still posing a threat in affected areas. The Emergencies Ministry promises to rebuild all the damaged homes in southern Russia by December 3rd. It also vows to pay compensation to victims. This will come at a 1 billion ruble price tag, roughly $35 million. The money can never replace all the things that were lost, but it could at least put a roof over people's heads and give them new hope. Staci Bivens, RT.
This self-professed, deeply religious woman is full of hate. Hate for those who are different. Hate for immigrants she accuses of occupying, disrespecting, and contaminating her nation. Russians, she insists, are fighting a race war motivated by love.
Love for our homeland and our nation. Love for our God. Pure families where people don't just date and then break up, but rather they get married in church. They don't practice abortions. They don't support interethnic marriages.
Or ethnically mixed communities.
And what are your thoughts about me? I'm not Russian, I'm African American, I'm here. Are you upset that your government gave me a visa? What are your thoughts on that?
I believe everyone should live in their own homeland where they belong.
Armed with this belief and inspired by racist bloggings, her husband, Nikolai Korolev, and 2 fellow students bombed Moscow's Tchaikovsky Market in 2006. They targeted because of the number of traders that come from Central Asia and China. The blast killed 14. Attacks against non-Slavic-looking people are often brutal, and in cases like Tchaikovsky Market, they are deadly. The deeds of angry mobs pummeling outnumbered victims are recorded by racists and then posted on nationalist websites. Activists call the situation out of control, but a local non-profit crime watchdog group acknowledges it is slowly getting better.
They started seizing the most odious groups that had been involved in systematic violence and terrorism. During the last 2 years, the largest formations in Moscow were dispelled, and the key activists and murderers detained.
She says 19 people have been killed due to hate crimes in 2010. That's down from 50 for the same time period last year. But that math does little to satisfy migrants who feel self-reliance is better than police protection.
They won't any longer walk alone. They'll walk in crowds. People take care of their own safety. Law enforcement comes into action after a crime is committed, not before.
As for Veronica, her husband is serving a life sentence for actions neither of them regrets and for a cause they both support. Happy days are here again at the Weingartner home, but for years this wife, mother of 4, and former executive says her home life and health were harmed due to discrimination. Sadika worked for Siemens in Nuremberg, Germany from 2001 until she was fired in 2009 and contends that she was mistreated because she's not of German heritage.
I have a supervisor who was a very rude and very impolite person. And he called me walrus. He used insulting words like dirty, sloppy, Arab, and so on.
This German citizen, who was originally from Afghanistan, claimed the abuse began subtly, with a heavier workload than her colleagues, exclusion from meetings, and constant criticisms and false claims from her first supervisor. And with a new boss, she says the bullying intensified.
And no one was allowed to talk to me. It's something that is a point that I would say difficult to explain.
The pain, according to Sadika's husband, changed her.
And later on you see like a human being gets less and less and less, vanishes almost, the person, you know. She came home and then cried. She always was very, very tough at work, so nobody could see how she felt, but when she came home, then she broke down almost every day.
The former exec has launched a lawsuit against Siemens. The company declined to interview, but issued a statement that insists an internal investigation found no basis for the allegations. Sadika's case could set a major precedent. It's estimated that 1.5 million workers a day in Germany are the victims of on-the-job bullying. And they suffer in silence, afraid that speaking out could cause them even more harm, including the loss of their jobs. Germany is watching the suit closely as it struggles with integration and discrimination issues. But people of migrant backgrounds are still grossly underrepresented in both the private and public sectors. A quota system is being debated as a way to level the playing field.
But the quota system also has a backside to it, which then is that people think, oh, now she looks different and she has that job. Is that because of qualification or because of the quota?
A voluntary quota system combined with increased training and awareness is a more palatable option and is also being considered. Dr. Finke believes diversification of Germany's workforce is not only a matter of fairness, but also key to innovative ideas it needs to remain competitive. Staci Bivens, RT, Germany.